Hey, Jordan.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I think today is going to be a super fun episode because you're a super fun person.
Aw. I was going to say, if it's not, I don't know. It's your fault.
Yeah.
I've done nothing wrong.
But today we're going to explore a couple different things to get started. You have ventured into content creation, which is quite a popular thing to do in today's society. And it's interesting to me because starting off, I mean, I'm just getting this podcast started and going. You feel like there's so many people so far ahead of you. And like, how could I ever create something of value? The thing that you're doing is more video based. What got you into just starting like creating videos and getting going with it?
Man, it's been a long journey. One thing that I think helps, my roommate is along pretty much the same journey as I am. Like, we play in the same band together. One thing that he says, because he's come from like corporate world stuff, is the people who do not create or do not do any of that sort of stuff call it content. They say content creation and all that stuff, and it really just devalues what you're doing if you're just saying it's content, because then you're just like, imagine you're just another item at Walmart or something like that. Mm-hmm. Instead, because of, the Walmart of the Walmart of the internet. That's a thing. Sure. You're just the Walmart
of entertainment.
Yes, exactly. Of the attention economy and shit like that. Mm. So it's like, instead of saying, like, just figuring out different ways to say that instead of like content, because it's super easy to say, but that's the man who's like trying to buy your shit for cheap and doesn't care about anything that you've done, calls it content, instead of being like, well, I make videos. I make things, stuff like that. But anyway, my journey, I've had to think about it for a little bit, because people just automatically assume, and even yourself just assumes, it's like, oh yeah, I guess I'm just naturally good at this. No one's naturally good at anything. Literally nothing. No one is naturally good at. That there's no such thing as talent. Like, I read a book, or someone said that to me once, and I've subscribed to it ever since. But I've been doing video stuff since ever since I could, which was like in like my junior year of high school was when my friends started doing it. Like, we did it in film class for high school credit and stuff. Like, we did one of my best friends at the time in high school, he and I both, like, he did one semester, I did another semester of our senior year of video class, and we both helped make movies together, like just stupid short films. And we both won like best comedies for our respective things. And he was the main actor for both of them. And I played like a bunch of different whatevers. Just whatever was like the most fun thing for us to do. And then I started, like, I bought a camera for like just like a little, maybe could shoot at 720, maybe, I think it was 1080 at the time in 2012. I bought a camera and a computer to help out with my student teaching as a music teacher, to be able to film myself, just do what I was doing, so I could better understand how, like, what I was lacking and what I could be doing better. And then I immediately, as soon as Call of the Void got signed, well, actually it's before that, I started filming everything that we were doing, like in the studio and stuff, and then started making videos and just kind of slowly working my way into things.
Yeah, and Call of the Void, just for people who don't know, is the last band that you were in.
Yeah.
What kind of style would you call that?
We really like the term sludge punk.
Yeah.
So it's like we played all over the place. It was basically kind of like this fringe genre of, we play death metal, we play hardcore, we play punk, play at the grindcore in a sense at times, black metal. It was whatever we wanted to play, but it was on the extreme genre of music. So if, like, like my mom would say, it's like, why do you guys have to scream?
Yeah.
It's just like, you don't get it, Mom. It's not a phase. So that was for Call of the Void. I was like, I kind of forced myself into creating content. Well, we needed it. And content. See, I said it right away. I got myself. I was creating videos and stuff for us to help promote us. And then we just, I was screwing around, bored, and one night I decided to make dinner on Snapchat. That's how Mediocre Cooking came about. It was just like I put it out and people loved it. So it's like, okay, I'll just keep this going. And that I just like instantly fell in love with I guess that like there's a cycle of creation where it's just like you get excited about an idea, you start working on it, you get bummed out, but then you get excited about the progress that you're making and then showing it to people, and you start slowly showing it to like a select few people. And then you put something out and you're instantly depressed because then you have nothing else to give back to the world. You're just like, well, I'm worthless at the moment until I have another idea that I start working on. So that's like kind of like where I've been at ever since. I've only just been working harder and harder at it. Like I've worked at my understanding of comedic timing and stuff like that, because I mostly do comedy stuff. I've done a couple of serious things, but it's mostly just like I want to make people laugh and have fun. And it was like really over like the last year or so, because Mediocre Cooking did a season from like July 4th until the end of September. That was like our first like real season. We're like, cool, we're trying something. This is really fun. And through that, I just started like, I guess like attracting people who wanted to do more of the same thing. And through that, I have just done this a lot. I'm just stoked on it. And like I did 2 videos for Call of the Void. Well, besides like any sort of like drum playthroughs and stuff, because they're really easy to make. You have one camera. Yeah. You just mess with the audio, you're good. But I made like a making of our last record. And then I did a final show video of our final show and whatnot, where I had access to some friends who were just really stoked on this. They knew that this was a monumental thing for me to be going through and to capture it. And we created something really cool, and it just kind of pushed me through. And I met my friend Amanda Grafe, who is wanting to do literally on the same journey as me, just wanting to make stuff. Because like we have like some big audacious goals of like being in feature films and things like that. And we know that like, I mean, she's a really good actor, and she's tried to get agents and stuff, and no one recognizes her. And it's like, it's silly stuff. It's like, so the way that we have to do it is through pushing ourselves to be better and making our own stuff. So that's like led me to where I am now, where like for the year, every single month, we're going to be putting out a minute, like 2-minute or so video. And then every quarter we're putting out like a short. So that's 5 to 10 minutes. And then working towards a feature film. We put out a feature. We were a part of one last year, but it was like shot in a day, and we were all just drunk as hell. Like the director planned it all out and everything. Like I think the film was 110 minutes and he had 30 pages. So it's primarily improv from everybody, which is just, that's my wheelhouse. So it's just like whatever comes out. And it's funny most of the time, I guess. But like we're working towards doing that more and more, because it's seriously addicting, you know, just like, why are you doing this? Like how awesome is it to ask someone to come on and help make something with you, you know, and like have a conversation about stuff, or, you know, making a video of it. How fun is that? You know, writing music, all that stuff. It's great. And then you get to show it to people. And if people have an appreciation for it, they're like, oh, that's just, you get addicted to it. Even if it's only like 5 to 10 people who have an appreciation for it. And then imagine if you have 100 to 300, I think there were like 400 to 500 people who saw Call of the Void's last show. It's just like, how do I get back there, but more, you know? So that's my journey. Yeah.
I mean, you bring up so many good points. Like part of my initial want for this podcast is I was like, man, I just want to like inspire people. If I inspire one person, then like doing all of this will be worth it. And my first episode was all about travel and getting out and going on adventures. And the day after I posted it, one of my friends was like, dude, that video was so inspiring. Like, I got to travel more. I got to get out. I was like, oh, weird, I hit my goal on episode 1.
You set the goal way too low. You didn't expect anything great out of yourself, you know?
Yeah.
But then that just shows you right away. It's like, cool. If I could do that, then what do I think I can't do?
Yeah. And it's what's next? What's next? What's the next goal? What do I want to do to like keep this building? And it's awesome. It's such a weird thing with creation. Like, I feel like that's what we're here to do is experience and create. Like, that's the human journey.
Yeah.
And in that, when you start to create things, it's amazing. Like, we love to take ownership of ideas and things that we've done. But once we bring them through us and bring them out into the world, it has a life of its own. You know, we're just a vessel for these ideas and these things. We give birth to them and then suddenly they just start running. And it's like, whoa, what did I just let out there? And like with music, with bands, I mean, I think about all the bands I listened to growing up, and like they kept me sane. They kept me alive listening to these albums and these songs. And like the people who wrote that music, they have no idea, you know, they have no idea that some kid was sitting in his basement in Iowa, just like, oh man, I'm going to make it through the day because of the way this guy wrote this song. And like all of that, it feels like owning your life in a way to become a vessel for creation.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Judd Apatow was talking about in a masterclass series that he was doing that like when you're just like writing or you're creating at some point, it's like you just like take this tube and you just slam it into the ethereal, the ether or whatever, you know, just like this thing of just like, it's in the War of Art. It talks about that it's just like, there's like something, it's just, you know, I'm not like a religious person or whatever, but I totally like understand it at times where it's just like, there's something coming out of me that I don't like, it's just like, it's already there. It's just like being pushed through you that like, is that sort of creation aspect. And it's a wonderful thing when you can get there, but man, it's that most of the time it's like, you got nothing. So that's what I mean. Like where it's like, there's no such thing as talent, right? Like where you have to work at that and to where it's like, I guess some sort of deity is just like, you're ready. Whoop. There you go. There's a little bit.
Yeah. Like I've been calling it like my equation right now of life is conscious effort over time.
Yep.
It's like, dude, you want results? Like keep going and don't just half-ass it. Like throw yourself into it with everything you do. Like I tried to remind myself that when I show up to my day job where it's like, all right, dude, like this is what you're doing today. Do you want to half-ass it or do you want to do a good job? And that bleeds into the rest of your life of just how you approach life. And that's how I want to approach everything. Like I want to approach everything from this avenue of like, man, I'm a badass. Like I get things done. It's something I wrote in my journal years ago of like, I'm done talking. Yeah. Like I'm done telling people, yeah, this is what I'm working on. This is what I want to, I had this idea and like, yeah, I want to do it. And then it just never, ever materializes. But I wrote, listen, I want to have done. I want to be doing. Like everything that I talk about, I want it to be present with what I'm actually accomplishing.
Yep.
And that was my way of like keeping myself in check of like, listen, man, you can talk all day, but if you aren't walking the walk, then you're worthless. And I'm not putting you down, but it's like, that was my journey. I'm like, dude, if you're not actually doing this stuff, then you're just talking out of your ass.
Right. There's something to it. Like where, it was a while ago, I had this meme that said, let your success do the talking for you. Just like silence is the best thing. Like, because there's like this little like dopamine or, you know, little chemical imbalance that happens when you talk about something, and you're really stoked about it, and you get the same feeling as actually doing it and actually having that thing done. Where like I totally believe in just doing it, because it doesn't matter how much you fucking talk about something unless you actually put it out there. Where like this point now, I tell only like a few people when I'm actually doing something. I like tell the people who are involved in it like that this is important to be able to do that. Like, I don't think I told anyone that I was coming on here, because I just would much rather be like, post about it later. Just be like, hey guys, go listen to this, instead of just talking about it. I've told one person because it affected our schedule for today. Like we had to that was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. I think it is super important that if you have an idea, write it down and then be like, okay, what are the steps I need to do to work towards that? Or like what people can be helping me towards that, like to accomplish this sort of thing. Like with my video projects, they're all technically audacious. Where it's like, it's something like, it's just like, how do we film simple ideas, but make them first look beautiful and then have a great content to them as well. It's the same thing with music. It's like you work, when I was in music school, to be a teacher, the thing that they taught us was tone, tune, time. So it's like first figuring out the sound of everything. So figuring out like how you want your drums to sound and everything. And then you work on your tuning, because with wind instruments, because I was a trombone player, you will not be able to get in tune unless you have the right tone coming through. So I guess you can apply this to those 3 T's. You can apply to everything in life, right? So you've got your tone coming through, and then that allows you to tune it. So it's basically like work on your craft here. Then you can start making it better and better. You got your fundamentals, then you get the fine tuning down, and then everything else starts like with comedic timing. Once you understand your voice and whatnot, you can like start slicing things up or learn how to like get in there super quick. I guess that was like kind of an ADD approach to it, but it's just like like you have to like going back to deliberate practice and whatnot. Like you can talk about everything, but if you're not putting in the time towards it, and you're not like, you're just like, this is a part of my daily routine, then like what does anything else matter? Because you're going to get that same rush from talking to whatever dude down like for my day job. If I tell somebody I'm doing something, it's like that dude doesn't give 2 shits unless like, I have something that like they don't care in general. So like, why do I anyway? It's like, I just get excited. I want to show people things. Just like I matter. Don't you see? I've done this thing. I matter so much to the world.
I've never thought of it that way, of getting that same rush when you talk about it, but that's so true. Just like you're literally feeding the part of you that wants to feel accomplished. It's like, oh, I'm doing something.
Because it's basically understanding how your thought process works, where like you have to like trick yourself into doing stuff. It's like you can say it all that you want, and you will get a chemical reaction from that. You're going to feel great because you're like, I want to do this. I'm putting this out there. But until you make that first step, means fucking nothing to anyone.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about this podcast I had the idea a year before I implemented it, and I bought gear, and I slowly had like some trials of recording and stuff. But once I wrote things down and was like, this is what I want, this is what I want when I want it by, this is my timeline. Dude, from writing it down to recording and putting out my first episode was a month and a half.
Yeah.
It was just like, whoa, what, dude? I've been sitting on this for a year, and then just like putting something in place, even just writing it down. That puts it into a real world scenario where it's like, okay, now
make it tangible.
Exactly. Tangible. Yeah, dude, that's such a good way to put it. Like the perfect word for it, because you're you're bringing it from that spirit realm. Like your mind is non-material. Like we don't think about the non-material world very often, but we're like, it's in your brain. It's in your brain. It's like, dude, whatever. Like, like my thoughts, I can picture anything I want. That is non-material. But you have these ideas that you feel like you bring into the real world by voicing them. But the voice is just like an improv jam that you do alone with your buddies. It's in the moment and then it's gone. You say it and you're like, yeah, there it is, world. And then it's like, okay, now what? Like nobody else is going to know about that. You just express the idea. But when you start to bring it into reality, when you write things down, when you actually hit record, when you actually publish things, then you're taking these steps to put yourself out there, to allow this creation again to flow through you.
Yeah, you're giving yourself the opportunity to do it. I guess the one thing that we don't want to discount saying something out loud, because if you do that, then again, you are making it tangible, but it's understanding that there's more than just saying it. Yeah. It's like you do have to say it, like there's, I guess like affirmations are a pretty important thing at times and whatnot, but like I think they're important, but I don't do them. It's just like what actually matters. Like when I know what I need to be doing, like on a daily basis, or if I'm like, this is the thing that I need to accomplish throughout accomplish with today's time and whatnot. Like today I have a million things I got today off and I'm like, oh man, I've like all day available. And like, no, you have the podcast and then you have a wrestling event that you're going to later, it's like, it's what you do within that time there. And it's like the event isn't even going to be that long. And then you have to get to bed at some point. Like you can't just go to bed at 2 a.m. anymore. Yeah. It's like you have to like understand, like, cause I have like several projects that I'm working on that need to be done in a reasonable amount of time. So I have to like, it's like, okay, I know it's understanding that you once you give time to everything as well and be like, okay, this is the time period that I'm doing this in. It makes such a big difference too.
Yeah. And that's something I've learned as I've grown older. Jocko Willink talks about it. I don't know if you've ever heard him.
Never.
He's on Joe Rogan's podcast a lot. He's got his own podcast. He's an old army guy, but he talks about discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
And what that means is like, if you really carve out time and structure it, it's insane how much you can do in a day. Like today, one thing I've been trying to do, I'm not very good at it yet, but the days I've done it, it's been incredible. The night before, I write down what I want to accomplish the next day. And I'm not stringent about it. If there's things I don't accomplish, cool. But if I check 3 things out of 6 off the list, I'm like, oh, sweet. Like those things are done. I got it accomplished. And when I figured out, I realized that when I write things down the night before, I woke up randomly at 7:30 this morning. I went to bed at 12:30. So I was just like, what am I doing? I should go back to sleep. I'm like, well, dude, you're awake. You got stuff to do. You look at your list. There it is. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to get up. I'm just going to drink some water. I'm going to ease into my morning. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to start doing these things. And I got 3 things done before this podcast that I've been putting off for a month.
There you go.
And it was just like, man, like writing things down again, like planning, structuring, discipline is freedom. Like writing those things down last night allowed me to accomplish so much more today than I would have if I was just like, I got the podcast tomorrow. Make sure you're ready for that. And it's like, well, dude, you got other stuff too.
Yeah, see, that's my issue is like, I know that if I do that, then I'm going to be doing those sorts of things, but I hate, like, I guess I like chaos so much more than anything else. Or it's like, oh shit. It's like, I like that. I guess it just works with my energy.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not good because then I could be focusing that energy into like doing these things. Because there's like a whole bunch that I could have done yesterday. And I did 2 of those things that I wanted to do when I could have done so much more. But one thing I always forget to do is that I am allowed to enjoy myself, and I don't have to be working on things all the time. It's just, even though I go out and it seems like I'm always enjoying myself and whatnot, if I'm doing something that involves work, I guess, in some way or another, some sort of sadist move, but it's an interesting thing. But I guess nope, it's gone.
Well, in creating videos and starting that, do you feel that there's hang on 2 seconds, save that question.
Cool. I have to pee again. I think this is the third time since I've been here. Yeah. Is this okay? I've already broken it.
Go ahead.
Okay, save that question. Ahead. I will be right back.
All right. We're having our first pause.
Is this the first time you've ever had a pause?
This is the first time.
I will go so.
You're okay. At your own Alex pace. Heyo. I guess I'll take this time to promote Zero Shoes. Zero Shoes, flat bottom. They're awesome barefoot style. I'm an affiliate with them. Go to Zero Shoes with an X, Xero, zeroshoes.com/go/Hey Earthling. And any sales of the shoes that you purchase through that link, 10% of it goes towards supporting the podcast. That'd be really helpful. Costs money to do this. You get awesome shoes. I get a little bit of kickback. It's a good deal. Yep. I think we'll pause here and come back. All right, we're back.
All right, and we're back.
So how do you feel? Like, it's kind of awesome to me that the bar has been lowered for entry. I think a lot of creators kind of poo-poo that, of just like, so many people are doing it now, recording, you can record your band at home. You can record podcasts out of your home. There's so much opportunity for creators, and the bar has gotten lowered in that with
entry, right?
Entry. Yeah. The bar of entry is super low. So with that, like, I think it's awesome because it's like cream will always rise to the top,
Cream will always rise to the top.
Yeah. Like the bar has been lowered, but if you're doing cool stuff, it's so much easier to get noticed. There's all these platforms to put yourself out there. Like, how do you feel like being at the entry level and building yourself up right now? Like, how do you feel about where the bar is and like where you want to go with your own creation?
Man, I've been a firm believer in that idea that just like, it doesn't matter like what, like, I don't know how to put it, but like the cream will always rise to the top.
Yeah.
Sort of that idea is just like, it's great. The more people that can do it, the better. Like it doesn't matter. People are going to latch on to things that are good. And if it's of quality and whatnot, people are going to notice that. And they're going to want to be attached to it, or they're going to want to enjoy watching it and whatnot. And I think there are a lot, like I guess it's cool that like, not like video related. I guess it's like cool that kids can do it like that. I made a funny video that looks amazing on my phone the other night. Just like, yeah, cool. I can just kind of go whenever and wherever I want with all this stuff. It doesn't matter. I think it's great. Everyone should have the ability to do it. There are going to be certain people who are going to naturally go to it and go to it a lot quicker. And then there's some people who just aren't going to do it. Like, I don't think anyone in my family enjoys making that sort of stuff. Enjoys it on the same level as I do. Where I guess I surround myself with people who want to do it and whatnot. And it's cool because you just find people who want to try it out. And if they want to keep pursuing it, they'll keep getting it better and better and better. Just like with any sort of bands and whatnot. Awesome that they can record themselves on their own because they're just only opening up doors for themselves to be able to do that. And through recording themselves, they get to hear if they fucking suck or not. And if they do suck, they can be like, well, you know, that sucks, but I think we can make it better.
Yeah.
That's just like, again, no such thing as talent. Everyone sucks at everything at first. Like, I don't know how many people I have to like say that to when they're just like, you just seem so natural. It's like, yeah, because I've been playing around with anything that I do for way too long. The only thing that I haven't been doing as long is, any sort of crazy editing techniques and stuff like that. I've only recently started doing it, like where I'm finally okay with the quick cuts of the YouTube style stuff. 2 videos I've done it so far. I've only done 2 now, where like all my other YouTube videos and stuff, anything for Mediocre Cooking was meticulously edited. Even though they're like only a minute long and just stupid and filmed on a GoPro and whatnot, it's still like now I have access to quality making, you know, like I can actually make things look good. And if I had stuff that looked good right away, like that, and it looked great, but like I had dog shit quality, like dog shit content to it, you know, as in the substance to it. Yeah. Imagine how bad that would be. It's like, oh yeah, we follow Alex because it's awful. Yeah. Like, no, we follow him because like he makes awful things funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's awesome, like, again, in how it breathes a life of its own, you know, like it builds as you continue to put your effort into it. And like, even with this podcast, every episode, something's a little different, you know, a new camera, a new microphone. And, you know, this is like 6 episodes in. Yeah. It's just like, well, I'll just keep on going. And it's like in that, again, it's giving the effort to it that builds what you want and actually begins to give it legs. And if you're not putting that time in of like making shitty content and and content where like a few months later you look back and you go, oh, what was that nonsense? Like that was ridiculous. That big fly back.
Yeah, he is. I was, yeah, sorry, you can tell us.
I saw him too. There's a big fly that I thought I killed at the beginning of the episode.
It resurrected itself.
Resurrected.
30 minutes later.
Yeah.
That one thing I think, like, you know, back when we were younger, just like everybody else, it was a lot harder to put things out there. Like we can make stuff all day long. And like no one ever heard how awful my, like when I was first learning to record and first learning how to like actually make music and whatnot, no one will ever hear that stuff. I put some of it out there, but like no one heard it, you know, and I think it's better that way. You know, it's just the access. Like a lot of people now have far too easy of access to be able to put stuff out there. And that's also, it's okay because then the quicker that they get any sort of like real world feedback, the better that they're going to be. Like, cause I don't do anything with, cause we're going to date the episode, I guess, but I don't do anything with TikTok and whatnot. And I don't have any aspirations to, because I don't see the value or the, you know, just, I've always hated lip syncing videos where it's just like, oh, you're half-assedly singing along to a song that you like. And you think other people, it's like you're enjoying filming yourself and then you're getting you're saying something, you know, it like you're putting something out there without having to put any sort of real effort into it. It's just like, or like, you know, all those people who are obsessed with air guitar. It's just like, that's cool that you're doing something, but you're like, I'm just like, you're such a loser. But like at the same time, I am in almost every, again, like I could be saying that to myself about with literally everything that I do. It's just like, oh, you're such a loser with all this stuff. But you know, as long as it's making me happy and like my, you know, ultimate life goal, I guess I realized a little while back was that it was to bring joy into other people's lives and to be able to help inspire them to do the same if they're looking to do that, or more inspire people to be able to do the things that they say that they've always wanted to do. Where I like get, you know, I get a little bit upset with people who just say, you know, they're at the talking phase. I guess, of things. We've talked a lot about that, so we don't need to go any deeper into it. But my personal, journey is to be able to help people push past that and be like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do this and whatnot. Or like, I remember talking to someone who's like, yeah, I wanted to be a musician, but I just never, it's old and tired at this point where it's just like, if you wanted to, you would have done it. So don't say that you wish you did and whatnot, because there's plenty of time for it. Takes 10 years to get good at something, I guess I'm in video creating. It'll be 2012 is when I really started kind of going for it or start doing it more consistently. So I have like another 2 years before like I start really making really good things, I guess. It's like, thanks for reminding me. Like I reminded myself of that.
Yeah, but there's so much value in starting anything, of just like, I feel like that's the journey of staying young, is continue to try new things, like always try new things. Like I've been a drummer for 15, 16 years now, but just recently, 2 years ago, I started writing songs on the guitar and going up and doing open mics where I have my little acoustic and sing songs. Very different from my upbringing of metal drums. Yeah. But it's like, oh, well, this is something new. And no, I'm not that good of a guitarist. So no, I'm not that good of a singer, but I'm going to work at it and I'm going to keep trying and I'm going to keep doing new things. Like my aunt that I wrote an email to today, like she super inspires me because she's in her 90s and she just started playing ukulele and she did a dance recital like a year ago. And she's never done a dance recital in her life. And it's just like, dude, what? You're in your 90s and you're still going for it? Like there's no any of this bullshit of I'm too old, it's too late. Let go of all of that, because it's a cop out. It's a cop out.
It's just you not wanting to actually do it, but you getting the endorphin rush from telling somebody that that's, what you say your dream is.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Yeah. I'm just going to voice that I wish I did this. Do it. Do whatever it is, man. Pick up a guitar and suck for a while. Pick up a trumpet and be terrible at it. Like, just go. Stop holding yourself back. Why would you get in your own way to enjoying life and allowing yourself to grow? Like, I treat this as a video game. I grew up playing video games. I loved leveling up my characters. I was all about grinding. Just like RPGs, I'm just going to go and fight in the forest for hours and hours and hours. And I literally stopped playing video games with Grand Theft Auto 5 because there's a mission where you have to make your character do yoga. And I was sitting there looking at the screen, making him do it. And this little voice in my head was like, Jordan, you need to do yoga. And I literally got up, turned the game off, and started stretching. And I was like, dude, I'm my video game character. I want to invest in myself. Like my time, my energy is into leveling myself up as a human being. And the thing is, like, yeah, there's these ideas of like, you need to put 10 years in to get good at anything. But in the end, you got to put 5 minutes into it first. You got to put 15 minutes into it first.
That's 15 minutes is what I like when I was teaching. Be like, all you have to do, literally 15 minutes. It's a quarter of an hour. It's nothing. It's like stuff that I'd have to even tell myself to do, because it's so the hardest part of that we all know, the hardest part of doing anything, literally anything, is getting started, because you have no momentum going into it. You have no groove. You have nothing. Just like waking up in the morning and whatnot. It always sucks. Like even showing up today, I was half an hour late. That's just it's just my thing, because I don't like getting started. I guess, boom, revelation for myself. Just knowing that I don't like starting things. I hate it. Like waking up and getting to work and shit, stuff like that. It's like, no, I'm in this groove called sleeping, staying in bed. Fucking awesome. I got my dog right here. we're cuddling. He's really enjoying it too. So like, this is great. I don't have to do anything. And then you like, but you're awake. You're already looking at your phone and stuff like that. And like things I'm telling myself right now. It's just like, so as long as you can identify when that it's just like, okay, I have to push. I have to do something in order to get it going. You can apply that to literally everything. Just like me realizing that it's why I don't show up on time to anything. It's because it's something new I have to do.
Yeah. And that's such a good point of like the sleep. Like you've been doing that for 8 hours straight now. Like you've got momentum.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that really hits me of my writing stuff down the night before. It's like that's a way to create momentum going into the morning.
You're putting it into your subconscious.
Yeah, because you're like, before I do sleep, I have an idea of what I want to do after sleep. So even though, and then it's like, okay, sleep has an end because I've got other things to do.
Yeah.
Like sleep is a part of this journey, not the reset button where you're like,
that's such a beautiful way to look at it. Cause I'm not just, okay. Yeah. Just, yep. That's great. Cool. Sleep is a part of the journey, not the reset.
New t-shirt.
I think that's great. Cause I avoid sleep. I even avoid sleeping for as long as I can. I literally, as soon as I'm involved in something, I'm just doing it for a long time because there's some sort of momentum carrying me through it, where it's like, it's so much harder to stop doing something than it is to start doing something. So then just understanding it's going to be okay. I'm not a morning person at all, but I could be. I was for a second. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
Don't lie to my audience.
I'm not lying to them. I'm lying to myself.
20 people listening
at the moment. There are going to be more people coming back later. There are going to be plenty of people who are going to come back later. And you don't know what I bring to this table.
I've got so many Call of the Void audience that's going to listen to this.
No. If they do, I certainly hope that they're inspired to do something, because just like I'm right there right now, I'm technically not starting anything new because I've been doing everything that I'm doing now. The current project that I've been in, I joined 2 years after Call the Void. I'm like looking into the I'm talking to you now. Yeah. The 2 years after I joined Call the Void, joined Iron Horse, was Axe Slasher. I've been in that band for almost the same amount of time. Just like, and leaving Call the Void behind was just giving all of us this kind of a fresh reset on it to be like, okay, now we have no distractions to this, and we can do everything that we've always wanted to. With it's the beauty of Axe Slashers. There's never been a thing that we're like, I don't think we could do that, or that like that's too goofy and whatnot. It's just we all are just like, this is great. We can make anything that we want, like not even musically, just the aesthetic. We have that down. With videos and whatnot, I'm now meshing those two things together because I did with Call the Void, but there was just a lot of pushback because there's always the kind of like, is this the vibe that we want to give off? Is this like the kind of, does this fit into everything that we're doing? And the beauty of Axe Slasher and me doing video and whatnot is fuck yeah, it does everything that I want to do, fits beautifully into this. And it only is going to help push the band even further. So it's just kind of finding your spot with what you're doing. It's just knowing that you're going to be working hard at something for, who knows how long, but as long as you know that this was the first year, I guess, I have a goal book that my friend Amanda and I have done. This is our second year doing it. I had the book for 3 years before I found someone to do it with, before I actually made myself do it, because I had someone a support system to do it. But it's the first year where I'm like, I'm not lying to myself about anything. All I want to do is music and videos. Like I just all I want to do is make stuff to show people that's going to make people happy, make them laugh or whatever. And either of these things, well, both of them, metal's not lucrative, but it's super fun. And it could be at some point, but it's like knowing that if I work hard at this, I am creating jobs for myself in the future. Where just like I work 2 jobs right now. This is the only thing, like one of the few, not the only thing, but it's a funny thing to realize that how hard I work at everything and how much I don't stop. Like I don't like today. Today's like my first like day off in a few weeks and whatnot, where I'm not working my second job, or like there are days that I work both. It's usually like Fridays I'll work both jobs or whatever, but I just don't have days off to relax and whatnot. And even if I wasn't here, even if I wasn't doing what I'm doing later, I'd still be at home and I'd still be working on all my videos and whatnot. Like it'd be just, or even like yesterday I was writing songs and finishing up a video. It's just like I can't stop because I know that the momentum that I have now, and that's the phrase I just keep using, that I have something that I want in the future. And because I've written it down and because I'm constantly working towards it, where I've written it down once and I should be looking at this thing, daily. If like usually we only review this goal book once a week, but it has focused me to the point where I don't have to look at it. I know the things that I need to be doing. Like if I want to lose weight, well, you better not eat all that shit that you want to today. It's like you can eat one of those, but then you can't eat the rest of it because you took in the amount that you need to. Or if I want to, like, it's funny how it's not funny. It's interesting how everyone associates the gym with weight loss, but we all know it's what you eat.
Yeah.
Like you're great at that. I'm awful at it. I'd rather just eat whatever the hell I want and then just get strong, but not look any different. But it's just like, if I want to be stronger, then I need to actually put some sort of deliberate practice into it, right? If I want to be a better guitarist, I can't just expect to pick up the guitar. It doesn't matter that I've been playing since 2004. I can do certain things, but if I want to actually push myself, have to actually spend time with the goddamn metronome and just sit and do all of my routines and whatnot, and just like work at getting better. Just knowing that I'm putting in this little bit of effort every time in order to get better at everything I do. That's the reason why I do so many videos constantly. That was actually the challenge I put on myself with, we call them the can videos from last July, where every single day in July, I put out a video of me kicking a can to a song.
Yeah.
And eventually it just evolved where it's like, cool, I can do something. I can force myself to do something funny or something that people value, right, every single day. It doesn't matter. It's like 7 to 15 seconds, right? I can do that. And I can spend an hour editing it or whatever, finding the right song or like talking to people about it and whatnot. It just putting the effort towards it. If you know that you have an end goal, which my end goal is, it's just like a death cult, I guess. Like I don't have an Armageddon that's coming. It's just like, I'm going to keep yes-anding the end date. Yeah. It's just like, cool. I did this. Like right now, the goal is just to do these projects, put them out there, and knowing that eventually it's going to lead to me actually getting paid like the amount that I'm actually worth, versus like going and working for, serving food to some loser who's not going to give me and not understand anything that I just did for them. Run it like I'm a server at a movie theater is my second job, where I'm just like running around, sweating my ass off, delivering food to people so that they can enjoy it, like eating at the same time that they're watching something. And then they don't even tip me, or they don't, they're not, giving me anything for it. It's just like, you guys just don't understand what I'm worth. And what that comes down to is that I'm not understanding what I'm worth. It's like I'm not putting enough effort into the things that I want out of life. Now, if I put in that amount of time and that same amount of sweat that I'm putting into serving some losers who want to go see a movie, right? They're not losers, but they're not at all. I don't know them, so I can't talk about them like that. But I don't want to be a servant to these people. I don't want to be good at this. I want to be good at making beautiful projects for people, beautiful videos for things. Like thinking about Jojo Rabbit That movie. Did you get to see that?
I have no idea what you're talking
Okay,
about.
Jojo Rabbit is a movie by this guy named Taiki Waititi. I can't pronounce his name.
I love him.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
What We Do in the Shadows,
Yeah,
like probably
Eagle versus Shark.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like this is like his masterpiece, I think, because I've seen a lot of his other stuff. It's just all fun and whatnot. And then he just puts out, it's gorgeous. The story is amazing. It literally is. You can't say what kind of movie it is. I can't classify it because it just takes you on this roller coaster of emotions this whole time. You're laughing, you're crying, like literally everything you want in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
He did it. But it took how long to get to that? He had to put out all this fun stuff and whatnot. And then he puts out this thing that's just, it's just amazing. And because he put in the time, he did all these other things. And now he's going to be one of the guys who does the next Star Wars and whatnot. He's going to literally be a fucking millionaire just goofing around half the time. And to him, it feels like it's goofing around, but he's doing work.
Yeah.
Like how much of this has just felt like goofing around, but we're working right now.
Yeah.
You know, we're sharing ideas, we're sharing energy and shit like that. So that like, hopefully my energy comes through to, you know, if you can listen to me talk this long, where just like you put this down halfway through listening to it and you go do whatever you're just like, I gotta go do it. You know, just like doing that. And then you pick it up back later and you're just like, yeah, I gotta go do that more.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing about momentum is it's a law of physics, you know, it's like really dealing in this reality of like gaining inertia and like an object in motion stays in motion. Like you have to keep running and you have to get it because at some point you're running up the mountain, running and you won't even realize, but at some point you'll hit that peak and then you're fucking sprinting downhill.
Right.
You know, and you won't get to that unless you run your ass up that mountain.
Exactly.
Like you have to take those steps and everybody wants this like Hollywood story. Like they focus on that end game of like, man, they made it, you know, like that's just so easy for them. It's like, dude, they worked their asses off. Everybody that has done something in their life, not everybody, everything, you know, but almost everybody that's really accomplished something, like they had to work their ass off to get there. They had to put in countless hours of shit that they didn't want to do and made it happen day after day after day. And they had major setbacks and they had small setbacks. I recorded 4 episodes of this podcast that I can't put out because I messed up audio inputs. I messed up video. The thing crashed. Yeah. You know, and I could have been like, screw it. And kind of I did for a little bit. There was definitely months in between having screw ups and then actually getting going. But I still kept picking it back up and kept taking steps towards it. And now I've got episodes out and I'm gaining my own momentum. And I don't know what this is going to build into, but I feel like even if the podcast doesn't do anything big, it's still putting me forward in being a creator. It's still giving me a little bit of my resume, a little bit of my have done. You know, it's filling that up. Exactly. And it's like, if you don't just take those leaps and go for it, then there's this saying of like, I would rather be on my deathbed with regrets of what I've done than living with regrets of what I didn't do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, it's like, I wish I would have handled that differently. I can live with that. Yeah. But like, if I'm on my deathbed, I'm like, dude, I didn't go for it and it's over. This whole ride is over. And I didn't make the jump. I didn't ask for what I needed. I didn't try what I wanted to do. And now it's over. Like this ride is gonna end. We're all gonna die. Like I try to remind myself of that as often as possible. Like, dude, you are not going to exist at some point. I don't know what happens after death, but this ride is going to end. don't let it go to waste. Whatever your heart is calling for, like you're talking about being a server and being like, this isn't what I want. This isn't what I want. Listen to that. Everybody should listen to that. If you're a server and you're like, I fucking love this. I gotta just bring people food. I'm good at this shit. Do it. Do it as much as you possibly can. But if you are at a job and you're like, this is not fulfilling, use your time, use discipline, use your time outside of that job. Realize you still got to eat. The way that we do this reality right now is you work, you get money, you pay for your shelter, your food to keep you sustained and keep you living. But take your time outside of that. Utilize it. Don't go to Netflix. Don't go to YouTube. Go from being a consumer to being a creator.
If that's what you want.
If that's what you want. Exactly. Listen to your heart. If you want to play an instrument, buy the instrument, start doing it 15 minutes at a time. Just start. Again, starting is the hardest part because it's blank slate. You're looking at the mountain and you're like, there's not even a trail here. How do I get up
You
there?
just got to figure it out. That's
one step at a time.
That's literally the only thing that I've like as far as video goes, I've had guidance through some things, but it wasn't until like later, like 2017 is when I really started getting some people that I attracted them and they wanted to help me out with everything that I'm doing. One thing that you were talking about, like the living, I guess with living with the regrets of not doing stuff. It's an interesting thing because it kind of drives me at times to where it's just like, okay, I need to be doing more things because I'm not going to be remembered for, my work that earns me money, that allows me to save or allows me to go have fun and stuff like that. No one's going to really remember me for that. They're going to remember me for all the things that I put time into, that I was meticulous about, that I made some amount of money towards, but it got reinvested into everything that we're doing, like band stuff. And I made no money off of videos and stuff at the moment. I don't care about that. It's just I guess like knowing that if I were to pass away and whatnot, would I be okay with everything that I've done, with having done enough and whatnot? At this point, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Like if like, or something just like an aneurysm or something comes up, it's just like, I know that I've brought a lot to the people who have been in contact with me, and I'm okay with everything that I've given out and I've given energy to, I guess. But at the same time, it's just like, I haven't done enough, where it's just like, I'm so capable of doing so much more than what I am, the level that I'm at now. And that's the thing that really drives me. Cause like the thing that sucks about being a creator, I guess, is that you just constantly, like for me, it's just like, it's ups and downs. I guess with most things, there are always going to be a lot of moments of struggle where you just, the mountains and valleys where you're just like, I fucking suck at everything. What's the point of anything that I'm doing and whatnot? But it's those moments where you're just like, this sucks. I'm going to just keep going, instead of just giving up, because there are plenty of times where it's just like, why am I doing anything? I should just continue to work whatever job that I'm doing now, but it doesn't make me happy. There are a lot of things that can make me happy, and doing and being good, like you were talking about earlier, doing doesn't matter what you're doing, but doing it well. I feel like that's what I do with all my jobs and whatnot, or at least I try. It's just like, it's not the thing that I want to be remembered for. So I have to work really hard at what I want to be remembered for, and know that I may not see any sort of dividends for a very long time. Like any sort of effort that I got to see with Call the Void, with Axe Slasher, have all been, from investments that I made a long time ago, from just being like, well, I'm a fucking sad little loser. I may as well just play guitar for as long as I can. Or like for me, it was when my friends were like, we don't want to play your songs because you're not good enough. It's like, okay. Well, yeah, it's just like, okay, well, it was the opposite effect of like, being like, oh, I should just stop. It's just like, no, I just have to go that much harder to be good, to be great at everything that I'm doing. I've gotten to a certain point. Well, obviously it's not good enough for some people. And then you get beyond a point where it doesn't matter. Like I feel like if 75% of the time, any sort of video that I put out now is going to have the intended reaction that I'm looking for, but is it having the intended reaction that I want? Like where it's no longer about other people. It's about what I'm looking for out of myself. Like with all the music that I'm putting out now, I know that it has to be better than what I've done before. I have to feel like it's better than, and getting the approval of the people that I've been working with, like, my friends, my bandmates and whatnot, like that it's something that's like, cool. This is like our next level stuff. We are constantly improving to get to, doing the things that we never thought we were going to be able to do. Like this year, we should see some cool stuff happen for Axe Slasher. Like I've just putting it out there, being like, yeah, we're going to be putting in significantly more effort than we've ever done before. And we've gotten great reactions out of the small amount that it's not a small amount of effort that we put in, but the amount of effort that we put in now. What happens when we have, instead of one person doing it, because Justin, it's been his band forever. And now that it's like we have three of us instead of one, it's like, cool. Let's see what we're all capable of when we're actually focused and working really hard at this. And with my production company, with Amanda and I's production company, I'll say it's called Done for Fun. That's what we're calling. Done for fun. Yeah. It's goofy, but it's just like all names suck. Yeah. Like literally, like when we Call the Void was switching names and whatnot, it's just like, they all suck. Like you can make fun of Call the Void. You can make fun of every single name. Like, so it's just like, okay, this is one that we're happy with, that we like. Done for Fun. And it encapsulates the vibe that we're going for. What we're doing there is just like, okay, what's an idea that we can do that's going to be beautiful and executed really well. Just like every month we have to be putting something out. And I have this video that I've been working on forever in After Effects. It's just all rotoscoping at the moment because like I can't put it all together unless it's all rotoscoped. And I keep putting it off. And the end of the month is coming up. I got to have that done really soon.
Real soon.
Yeah. But it's just like, and when I started doing it, I was like, this sucks. Like, why am I putting myself through this? And then the other night, it's like, I'm getting better at this. It's just like, I'm figuring out tricks to get myself to go through it that much quicker. So it's cool. I'm getting better at this. I suck at it, but I'm getting better. I'm learning how to do this all right. Just who knows what that's going to do in the future. But I know if I do it now, if I get good at this one little thing, just like I've gotten significantly better with comedic timing and everything that I'm, any sort of comedic bit that I'm doing and whatnot, I can turn almost anything funny. I know I can. I was not funny for the longest time. I was just like, it's like people are just like, Alex, you're so funny. How do you do it? And there are plenty of people who are going to be like, no, you're not. You're not funny at all. And there are plenty of situations I hop into that's just like, but it's like knowing that I put in that amount of time into that. Cool. I'm going to put it into a million different things, which is always a bad idea to just spread everything out that much. Cause then your concentrated effort's gone, it doesn't matter because I'm filling up each of these cups and whatnot. I'm getting better at everything that I'm doing and it's filling me up emotionally. That's what matters.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point in that it's like, it's hard, when you start to do something different, it's like it's fun at first and inspiring. And then you start putting time and energy in and it gets way harder because you're really trying to build yourself. And that's that moment where it's like, oh, well, just doing my job is easier than this. So why am I doing this? Because I'm not getting results in the way of like monetary or even just people paying attention. So what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And people don't realize how much that investment can pay off of putting the time in, like you're talking about with Taika Waititi. Like he did so much before he gets this like boom, and so many people don't put the time and effort into getting to that big crux moment, where it really pays off and turns into something. But if you don't put the time in, if you don't go through those hardships, you're never going to get to the point that you want to get to.
Yeah.
Like you have to put in this time. And again, it's going to be so much more worthwhile in the end than letting that dream go, and people don't allow themselves, like you were talking about how getting that feedback of people being like, yeah, your songs aren't that good. We're not going to use, whatever. It's like so many people look at this feedback as negative, but I think it's so much more worthwhile if you can look at feedback from the world as not a crushing thing, but it's just something to kind of take in, let simmer around, and then let go of what you don't need. But allowing everything to just kind of get a flare on you, because it allows you to hear what the world is thinking about you, what people's reactions are to you. And if you can let it color you without crushing or overtaking you, it's a very worthwhile thing. Like I think about it in the terms of bands. We can play a song and I'd be like, hey, was I in time there? And most bands I've played with, they're like, yeah, you're fine. You're doing good, And that's where like metal musicians, I'm like, yeah, you guys are super good. But I go and watch a symphony and I'm like, whoa, man, like because that's the level of expertise that's so much higher. Because if the violinist turns around and goes, hey, did I miss that? 12 people go, yeah, you missed that note. Yeah. We all heard it. Like, what are you doing? And it's like having that level of like holding each other responsible for our own output. Like that's where accountability buddies, I'm way into that. Yeah. Like holding yourself accountable for getting things done, having other people just call you like, hey, did you do that? Did you get that done? Is that done yet? Well, no, we'll get it done. That was the way I started this podcast. Yep. My buddy called me and was like, did you get all your social media stuff set up? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting around to it. And he was like, get on your computer right now. And I'm like, I'm going to get to it. He's like, get on your computer right now. So
you're lying to yourself and you're lying to me. Yeah. That's disrespectful, motherfucker.
Get the hell to work. Like, and again, like alls I can hope from episodes of this podcast, especially ones like this, is to just inspire you to take step one. Just write it down, stop lying to yourself, and get something done. Just accomplish something towards your goal. And then try to do something again next week. And then the next week. And just write it down. Write down what you accomplished. Write down what you want to accomplish. And then that's how you build momentum. And you have no idea where momentum can lead you.
Not a damn clue. I nowhere in high school would I have imagined to be doing everything that I've done. And I wouldn't be anywhere near as good of a musician for guitar and whatnot if I had not taken lessons, if I had not had my friends, push me to be a better guitarist. And if I had not gone through 7 years of music school, well, it's like more like 6 years of music school, I would not be anywhere close to where I am now. And I'm not where I want to be, but it's amazing the things that you can do. And even now, everything's kind of like I guess I live more day to day with like big goals in mind and stuff. Like I have to force is a good word for it, where I'm like, because again, you're pushing something, right? So I'm pushing myself to create things for me to look forward to. Because like with touring bands and whatnot, that's super easy. Oh yeah, we have an album to put out, or we have a song to put out, and then we have these tours coming up, and like we're going to be doing this, and a good half a year in advance when those things are coming up. So you always have something to look forward to. I haven't had something to look forward to in October with Actualizing, because we always put out a song on Halloween for the last 2 years. And that's going to be the way we do it from now until for perpetuity. And but there weren't many other things I was, just naturally had to look forward to, like Christmas or something. Like, imagine if you were able to create a Christmas for yourself, like every week or something, if you're into Christmas, I guess, just something that you're like, I'm excited to have this event happen. We're just like, I'm addicted to that. And it's like my day to day is making those sorts of things happen now, where I don't even think about it. Like, it's not like actively where it's like, this thing's going to be done at this point. Like I have the dates all written down and stuff like that, but it's just like, it's second nature when it comes to those sorts of things. I guess like just like showing up to work on time and knowing the things that you have to do. It's knowing the things that you have to do in order to make your actual goals, the things that actually make you happy happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex, I think that's a good place to end.
I think so too, man.
Yeah.
It feels right.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew you were going to be a good person to bring onto the podcast. So I got to say, like, I'm definitely going to walk away from this episode even more inspired to make things happen. I watching like the can videos that you made, like just that every episode was different and they just kept coming and coming. I was like, dude, yes. Like that consistency and that ability to just put it out there.
It was there are several times that was just like, I didn't want to do it. And I'm like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Like several times it came right up to like, it had to be done before midnight. No one's telling me to do this. I don't have a boss telling me to do this and whatnot. I'm forcing myself to do this several times where I'm like, fuck. And where I'm like having to call friends and be like, but it still happened. I did, there are 31 days and there are like 35 videos because the last day. And man, I had so many more ideas of stuff that I wanted to do. And I had the Call the Void decided to break up on one of the videos. I had the video where I recreate the Stone Cold's thing where I'm like crushing the cans together and stuff like that. That was right after Call the Void broke up. Like that was the night that we decided we were done. And then the next day I severely hurt myself at work. Like I had nearly, it wasn't third degree because it wasn't charred, but like awful second degree burns all down my right leg. Oh. Yeah. I still made a video that night. And it was one of the funnier ones to me. Like, and the next day I made a video and the next day I still made videos where it's just like, I'm coming up to the end. I have to make all this happen. Like there are plenty of, I wanted to do underwater videos. Just gonna make it happen. But it's still like, no, the drive of having the ultimate goal just makes everything happen. Anyway, we have to wrap this all up.
Hey man. Dude,
I love those can videos, man.
But there's always excuses. There's always a way out. There's always a way out. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't allow yourself to be less than what you can be. Because again, at the end of the ride, man, you're going to be so upset with yourself. Like, just don't let yourself get there without living this life to the fullest.
Hell yeah, Jordan.
Hell yeah, Alex. Dude, thank you so much for coming on today. I'll post links to all the stuff you do. If there's anything you want to tell people, links.
So the things that I do that you can find me, Mediocre Cooking. That's we haven't posted a whole lot, but if you go on YouTube, you can find the first 2 seasons. axe slasher. That's, like you have an axe and you're a slasher. We are an 80s horror themed thrash band out of Denver. We have a lot of fun in everything that we do. Hopefully, you're going to be seeing a lot more of us this year. Then my personal Instagram, I'm just like getting cramps. My personal Instagram is Chainsaw Justice. That's where I tend to like post a lot of if I have a funny idea pop into my head that I can make a quick video of that just will make people laugh or whatever. That's my my Instagram. I don't tweet very often. It's funny, like looking back at my Twitter, which everything's Chainsaw Justice. Super easy. And it's just like, what the hell does that mean? Anyway, yeah, Chainsaw Justice on Instagram, Mediocre Cooking on YouTube, Axe Slasher on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can find us on Bandcamp, all that stuff. It's been an absolute pleasure, Jordan. And thanks for having me. And yeah, it's great to see you doing great things because you are such an interesting person and like to a fucking T, man. It's always just like what the awesome, like that sort of stuff. So thanks for having me on this and making your dreams a reality.
Cheers, man. Yeah, super happy to have you as a part of it and just as a friend in my life, man.
I fucking love you, buddy.
Love you too, man. Awesome. Bye, Earthlings.